Hello everyone, today we're going to talk about automation and the future of lending and home buying. So here we go. So in recent years there's been this push to try to take the human out of the transaction. Not the person buying, the people who facilitate. So loan officers, real estate agents, there's been this push to try to automate everything. And there's been some companies that have been, have different levels of success where they have tried to do this very same thing where they are uplifting a platform that allows for different user interfaces and you can look at properties and do all these different things. But what does that mean for the future of lending if you're looking to buy something now? So what I have seen is that if you are a buyer who is just a paper, everything is great with you, you've got tons of money in the bank, you make a lot of money, you've never had any problems with bankruptcies or foreclosures, you've never had a divorce, you've never had anything, it's just plain vanilla, no debt or very little debt, super high credit scores. A lot of people like that can actually use something like Rocket Mortgage, where they basically fill some stuff out online and they say, yeah, you look like you're good to go. And it might work out well for you. But most people, and I mean the majority of people, have something they got to work on or something that's not exactly perfect for a computer algorithm to look at. What I mean is that people, especially people who have lived life and have gone through anything, they're not going to have a paper everything. There are some people out there that are like that, but most people aren't. And those automated systems, the ones that things like Rocket Mortgage use, or just some of the big mortgage companies that just take in so many applications, they're really good at doing the cream of the crop where everything is just easy. If it's easy or plain vanilla, they're on top of it, they can handle it. But for everybody else, they start to fall through the cracks with these companies, and you know what they say? They say, you know what, I am going to waste money trying to figure out this person's situation to get them in a house when I've got other people applying that could be easier. And so a lot of people fall through the cracks. And when I worked at a smaller lending company, and even in my current one, we would get people coming in that said, hey, I've been in contract trying to buy this house for 60 days with Wells Fargo or Chase or Bank of America, and we ran into yet another snag and everything's delayed. Can you get this closed for me? And we would take a look at their scenario and say, okay, why don't we just do this, this, and this? And of course, all on the up and up, all within guidelines and regulations. It's just knowing those things. And we would get it figured out for that person, and we'd get it closed within a couple of weeks. We would take that transaction and finish it because we could put our brains to it and figure it out and actually work with that person and actually care about whether they get that house or not. You're not always going to get that with this automated stuff. So moving forward as a buyer, you might see these different programs and things come out that make everything seem very simple and streamlined, but there's no human element to them. And the human element is the problem-solving element. That's the element that's going to figure your stuff out and help you get into that home where it's not just this big lumbering corporation that doesn't want people involved anymore and they just want to streamline things and save money. And it just doesn't work. Now, when it comes to actually buying the house and being on the home buying side of things, companies have come up and tried to do the same thing. It's almost like Carvana, but for a house. You just kind of see the information online. Here's what it looks like. Here's a 3D picture of it. And here you go. Do you want to buy it? Yes or no? Go through a financer or go through our financing, and we'll do it all sight unseen. And some of those companies have come up and they've completely just disappeared because they might be very technically savvy, but they have no salesmanship. They've got no person-to-person contact. They've got horrible communication. So those companies will pop up and then disappear because the idea behind them sounds great until you introduce the wild card. Now what's the wild card? Those are humans, people. Okay? If you're buying a house sight unseen means you only have pictures online. Pictures can be very deceiving. And that's coming from experience and dealing with just looking at, appraisal pictures are usually just as straight as you can get when it comes to, here's what a room looks like. When you look at the pictures online where someone's trying to sell it, they are usually trying to avoid stuff that doesn't look attractive. So my wife and I almost put an offer on a house before we actually came out to North Carolina to look at them because we saw how quickly the market was moving. This one house looked great. It was priced very low, much lower than our maximum was what we're looking for. I said, man, that'd be great if we can snag this house. Looking at the pictures, everything looked great. It disappeared off the market, so we said, okay, never mind. Now, when we actually got out to North Carolina and we were looking at houses, the house popped back up again. I said, oh, great. Except now it's changed to as is. The condition on the house was as is. That's not usually a good sign. Usually when a home goes off the market, pops back up, and then the price is reduced, and then it says as is, that means there's problems with that house. Problems the seller does not want to fix, because if they don't have to, they won't, especially if it's a really, really good seller's market, which we're in and have been in, and it's only gotten to be more so. But it tells you that there's something wrong with the property. Now, my wife and I, we went and checked out the property, and we could see there was water damage right where the chimney attached to the front of the house. That's usually a spot where water damage can occur, and that's where there was water damage. There was evidence of termite. There was dry rot on the outside of the house. One of the windows was broken and all frosted because it was a double pane window and one pane was broken. All this stuff you could not see in the pictures. I mean, we could have been in escrow on this house, ready to roll forward, do an inspection, and bam, all these problems with the house. Now, you don't want to waste your time, especially in a hot market where things are moving quickly. You don't want to waste your time with a lemon. And that's something that can happen when you're trusting on pictures. Now, if you have an agent, a human person that can go look at the property for you, let's say you're in the military and you have to relocate to a new base, a new post, or wherever you have to go, and you need a human set of eyes to go and look at all that stuff and not just trust these pictures that people have put up. And that's the thing that these companies are trying to push toward, but I think, in my humble opinion, you can't remove all of the people out of a transaction to try to save money. It just doesn't work. You miss too many pieces of it. Now, as a lender, I got people that call me almost constantly when they're in a transaction saying, hey, we just did this, what do you think about that? They want to bounce ideas off of you. They have questions and things. And when you're dealing with a big company or something that's automated, there's no one there to talk to. And if you do talk to them, they don't know anything about you other than what they might see on a screen. So it's very impersonal. So that's kind of the push of where lending and home buying is going. And I wanted to make this video because it's something to be aware of, because you see commercials for things like Rocket Mortgage and things like that from Quicken, because Quicken's a very big lender. And Rocket Mortgage might be a good part that they use, but I've taken deals from Quicken with people that were using Rocket Mortgage because they got the numbers they liked, but they didn't like the experience they were having. They didn't have that human touch. So when it comes to lending and buying a house, you need a good agent, you need a good lender. Best thing you can do is get a referral from someone you know and trust that has purchased a home recently in the area you're looking in, and that is kind of the best way to do it, is through referrals. You get a direct referral from someone saying, I used this person for my lending and this person to buy my house, and they were both excellent, they took care of me, I loved it. Then that's the person you should probably talk to see if they can work with. Wouldn't put too much stock into just going to like Lending Tree and having all of these online lenders show you their numbers and see which one you pick, and oh, this one's the lowest. Well, guess what? The lowest rate doesn't mean you're going to have that you're either going to get the house because they're going to do the best job. Just because it's the lowest doesn't mean it's going to be the best deal for you. So just things to be aware of. If you like this kind of content, you want to know about the current market, future market, anything, questions that you have below. If you're trying to buy a house right now and you stumbled upon this video, however that happened, put a comment down below on what your experiences are in the current market, so other people can actually see what it's like to try to buy a house right now, because it's a little nuts. People are still doing it, but you got to do stuff to make it happen. So check it out. Like the video if you haven't, subscribe, and check out any of my other videos here. I do videos on various subjects and different things that people have asked about when it comes to buying, and this is what I do. So, all right, we'll see you next time. Peace.